I know the performer.
But when we set up this performance, we didn't even realize that today, September 14th, was the 60th anniversary of the death of Isadora. That sort of fits in with the mystery of Isadora's life, the mystique and mystery, which I think will be clear to you after you see today's performance, if it isn't already. As many of you know, Isadora Duncan was perhaps the most important pioneer of modern dance choreography in the world. It's my opinion that her influence extends into every aspect of modern dance and really modern ballet as well. If you see Balanchine's work, you see somebody who was influenced by Fokine, came through a whole structure of people who saw Isadora dance and saw her bring a whole new vocabulary of movement. In fact, she was so modest, she said she was just rediscovering roots of dance that went back to the Greeks and so forth and so on, that she felt that she was merely opening the eyes of her public at that time to dance of the past and making them aware of something that had been perhaps lost for a while. Well, whatever your interpretation is, I personally feel that Isadora's choreography is something that we all should look at and study and realize has had a tremendous impact on all of the choreography that we see today as modern dance. There is a woman whose work is exemplary in this area, and she is really responsible for bringing these dances to us today. Her name is Hortense Kooluris, and she has worked long and hard to preserve the vocabulary, the choreography, the steps that Isadora herself created. As you know, until the age of videotape, dance was something that was an art form that was passed on from generation to generation, and it really relied on the love and the care and the concern of the people who were involved in performing it. And Hortense really exemplifies that. Through her own personal drive and motivation, she has worked for years to keep these dances in her memory and to teach them to younger dancers so that they wouldn't be lost forever. So I personally just feel that this is a thrilling moment to be presenting to a public audience in this World Trade Center Plaza, not a select group of people in a salon, but a big open public, open-air setting to bring these dances to you. I'm sure that Hortense would agree with me that this is the spirit of Isadora, bringing dance to the people, to anybody who can have eyes and look and absorb the beauty and the structure and the classicism, really, in these works. We have a program which we are distributing if you don't have one already. There is, however, one dancer who has not been listed on the program. In addition to Hortense Kooluris, who will be appearing with her own group today, Belilove, Jeanne Bresciani, Judith Landon, Adrienne Ramm, Beth Jucovy, Marilyn Klaus, Alexis MacPherson, Deborah Monlux, and Mark Trider are the group of 10, and they have been working all summer long. Many of these dances have not been performed by these particular dancers before. They have learned them specifically for the two performances here at the Downtown Dance Festival, which in itself is a remarkable achievement, and we're just so thrilled to have them here and to have all of you here to watch them today. We also have a wonderful man, a poet, with us who brings another aspect of the Isadora spirit today, Edwin Veck, who will help you follow along in today's program. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Hortense Kooluris and her dancers in a tribute to Isadora Duncan.
Isadora Duncan lived between 1877 and 1927. She was a defender of the public spirit of poetry, and she danced barefooted around the world. It is a season called by the name of spring. Hunt, hunt, until the fingers bleed from the sharp lot of the heavy rock. Wild birds will hover over them to sing. They know the soil enfolds the world. April holds its glory in a single leaf. Break bread, the wind is calling. Then behold, the manna quickly falling fills their fingers with belief. Away from this torture called hunger, away from this torrent of grief, out of this curse called famine, there is a universe reached by praying. There is never a hunger in art. Bind up the wounds of the world. Touch the fingers to skyloft. See how the stars are more glorious than all excuses for earth's hunger. Move on into finer expansions. Feel the feet lie in magic dimensions. We are the albatross of lost islands, further away than the eyes can see. See how our feet move as with the magic of spring, where all the arbutus blossoms blossom under the old logs. Our bosoms are not empty of food. We have found nourishment in beauty. We are the movement of the new universe, unleashed in a glorious light, too brilliant to look at, too mysterious for the earth to hold. Afternoon, we are listening to the power of two dedicated giants. One of them was Christoph Willibald Gluck. He lived in 1714 to 1787. The other was Isadora Duncan, who lived in our lifetime. The composer Gluck believed in the gods. He reformed the Greek tragedy by bringing back the Greek chorus to music. Isadora believed in the Greek tradition. She lived in the temple of the god of love. She was a woman of awe. When Isadora stood on a bare stage, it was with awe we visioned her. She transcended human movement and space. She seemed liquid. She was bird-like. There are many people who call her the woman that fluttered colored silk. She was not a Laurie Fuller. She did not use silk to make her move, nor to enchant her movements. Her silk costumes were inspired by deep study of the Greek Parthenon. Before she made any movement, she studied the Parthenon. Then suddenly the tall, great columns became Isadora, and Isadora became the columns. She heard the music of Gluck and Schubert as if it came from beyond, and beyondness became part of her body. She believed in beyondness. Her body was like silk. It moved like the movement of soft silk in the wind. She became almost boneless.
What's that? Which one is that?
This.
a flute, Isadora heard the travail of Eurydice and Orfeo. She felt joy. She knew sorrow. In the great, fierce, wild dance of the Furies before the gates of hell, she felt the churning of the depth of the earth. It was the first time that Isadora made downward movements toward the earth. She taught her little children to always reach up. Her own movements always conveyed upward. In the Furies, she found the wild creatures of the underworld digging up and throwing skulls at the great lover Orfeo, so as to frighten him away in his search for Eurydice. But instead, the music of his lyre and his song charmed the Furies into supplication, as Orfeo would then find paradise. Marie Antoinette said this was the greatest dance ever written, and she gave Luke a huge stipend to continue his work. If you close your eyes today, you will vision paradise. Paradise is something within you. Paradise is not a distant place. It is nestled in the back of your eyes. It is soft. It is silken. It is wondrous. It is woven from the fabric of love, of peace, of divine beauty. These are the elements in which Isadora lived and on which she based her work. She knew and learned the magic of transcendence. She trusted her inner esteem to touch her fingers to the sky. Through what vast wood, by what wild path of beautiful surprise hast thou returned to us, Diana, Diana of desire, translucent spirit of all illumination.
Then Ramm said, "Why are you doing that?" Then Bingo said, "I'm not a
the cream, sprinkle the world with fresh leaves, gracious in the lovely wind. Time has nothing meant for us, who wind the wreaths of daffodils, who cart away the violets, who make coronets for our hair. We are the children of the Pleiades. Our feet are the white wings searching for isolated appendages where the phoenix comes to sing. We are laden with music eternal. Our hearts are like tallest trees. We dance for the joy of living. Joy abounds in everything. Our bodies were meant for singing. We sing, we sing, we sing. Hurry, hurry now, dance everywhere. Our faces bear the vision of spring. Gather light in your hands. Let your voices ring with joy. We are the Mayflower children of paradise. Euterpe and her brother Eris have woven wreaths in the sky, not of bark, but from thistledown, gleaned from the garden of the gods. With their fragile fingers, they have touched the stars. To further all of brightness, starlight is bound in their garland. Flowers that seem to be roses are flung over their head tops, more beautiful than any other flowers named. They have wound amongst cloud leaves the supreme, scented with the destiny of rose bushes. Walk then where petals have fallen. No thorn will invade the snowdrops, no tearing missile will intrude the pathway from which these feet move like the beauty of bright dawn. Euterpe and Eris are our loved ones. Take them into your bosom, hold forever the fragrant softness of the rose petals.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes today's fantastic performance by Hortense Kooluris and dancers, a tribute to Isadora Duncan. One of the most special moments out here on the World Trade Center since this place went up, I'd say. And